morning again, everybody. I'd like to welcome to the stage my good friend, Taz Khalil. He's the product manager for the Overture system for Broan Newtone. I'd like to thank Broan for sponsoring today's session on healthy home and wellness. It's a great category, the indoor air quality, and I hope you enjoy what Taz has to offer. Welcome, Taz.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We've got a very cool product to show you guys if you haven't seen it already. I'm excited to talk to you guys about health, wellness, specifically indoor air quality in the space. We've got a product here that is awesome, revered by a lot of different builders within this room. I'd encourage you to come by and check out our booth afterwards. So going kind of quickly into the presentation here, Broan Newtone has always been kind of the pioneer, if you will, for building healthier homes. We've been doing that for about 90 years so far. We've been building healthy homes through ventilation products such as bath fans, range hoods, fresh air systems, and other air quality products and components. Lately, we've gotten into the connected indoor air quality space. It's a very small space, but one that we're growing, one that we're kind of building with a number of different builders, and I couldn't think of a better place to show it off other than this show. So talking kind of directly to a number of different builders, we've seen a number of different trends within the organizations, within the industry that we're in, to build homes that are tighter, to build homes that are more and more energy efficient. And one of the byproducts of building homes that way is, unfortunately, indoor air quality tends to suffer. We see a lot of different particulates, we see a lot of different VOCs and other forms of pollution in indoor air quality in a lot of these homes that we're building today. And so because of that, we've looked and really created our mission, which is better air, better life, regarding building homes with these ventilation products, really creating a, I'll say, healthy and efficient dream home that takes both aspects into consideration, energy efficiency and indoor air quality. And when we look at the market today in terms of indoor air quality components, there's a lot of different sensors out in the market that'll tell you what your indoor air quality levels are. A lot of these products are very similar to perhaps a thermometer, right? A thermometer just kind of tells you what the indoor air quality is, or tells you what the indoor temperature is, perhaps, but it doesn't really do anything about it. What we've created at Broan is really something akin to the thermostat for indoor air quality, where we have a sensor that actually measures indoor air quality and then does something about it. And so for us, delivering innovation to builders and a number of different individuals across the world means using the things that we've done for the past 90 years, using our fresh air systems, our ventilations, but incorporating additional aspects such as measuring and sensing, education, and other forms of indoor air quality improvement. And one of the key pieces of, I'll say, information that we always pass to builders is that not all homeowners are the same. So you may be building a home that is a standard 2,500, 3,500, 5,000 square foot home, but at the end of the day, the occupants are going to be a little bit different per that home that you're building. You might have a family of 2 that occupies that home versus a family of 6 and a dog. And so right off the bat, in terms of pollution, you're creating a lot more CO2. Additionally, in that space, you may have a number of different activities or individuals that may have different lifestyles that may have indoor air quality differences across the board. They may be working from home, whereas one family doesn't. They may be eating takeout at a restaurant as opposed to cooking all the time. They may be cleaning with natural products as opposed to chemicals. Their showers may be different lengths and of different times, so you're creating more or less humidity. And so the idea is we wanted to create a system, a product, right, that automatically adapts to the changes in indoor air quality and the changes, frankly, for their ventilation needs over time. Because the moment they walk into that house, the moment that they walk into that space, they have a certain set of indoor air quality requirements, but those will change over time as they introduce new family members, as they send a kid off to college, as they change their lifestyle habits. And so our product will constantly adjust to their needs over time. And so taking a look at what we've developed, really it's a product that measures indoor air quality and then does something about it. It's truly that simple. Unlike other products in the market, we don't just measure, we have an automated approach, if you will, for monitoring and then measuring and then doing something about it. And so when we look at what we've kind of put together, we've put together at our booth and here in the show a system that consists of 3 main products, 3 pieces of hardware that can connect to a number of different ventilation pieces, whether that's your range hood, your bath fan, or your fresh air system. And all of these are smart and connected. They work together to automatically measure air quality and activate these products so that at any point in time, whether you're cooking, whether you're cleaning, whether you're taking a shower, developing excess humidity, developing excess pollution within the space, you know that you'll have your house covered for the next 30 years, and that family that you're putting in that space is going to be healthy, it's going to be taken care of for that entire time. And so everything in our aspect kind of crosses the entire home. It's an entire home solution as opposed to a single room solution or kind of a piecemeal solution. And so taking a look again at the devices here, whether you're looking at spaces like bathrooms, kitchens, whether you're looking at spaces like your living room or your bedroom, there are sensors that you could place within the home that measure that indoor air quality, that talk to each other with your ventilation devices, that talk to even whole home devices such as your ERVs, your HRVs, your fresh air systems, to bring in fresh air in addition to exhausting a lot of that poor polluted air in that space. And so when you look at it kind of from a holistic level, one of the biggest key features that we wanted to put together was this idea of an easy install. And so we developed the product to really focus on how can we put it in both retrofit and new construction applications. How can we make it so that it's standardized across the board and works with a majority of different ventilation products throughout the space? There's nothing proprietary about it in terms of how it connects, how it works. And then additionally, from a setup perspective, it's as simple as, again, downloading the app, putting it together via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then having the devices connect to each other. From your end, it's a really simple and easy process that you could add to your builder offering or your integrator line of offering. You can use it as part of a tool to sell indoor air quality, sell health and wellness, which we'll be talking about today, to a number of your customers. And so what we've got to offer, again, is if you're interested, if you're a builder that is looking to offer indoor air quality for your customers and you're interested in taking a look at a free sensor that we're willing to offer you, go ahead and take a quick scan of that QR code. We'll get in contact with you and send you one and actually help you analyze some of the data that comes out of that. Whether it's a home that you're building today, whether it's the one you're currently living in, whether it's a client that you have that may be interested in indoor air quality, this sensor will tell you pretty much all that you need when it comes to the particulate matter, the VOC levels, the humidity in that space. It'll track it for an extended period of time, so you're able to take a look at those metrics and make decisions, or again, add to the Overture system to make it automated within the indoor air quality in that space. So I appreciate your time today. If you have any questions, please visit us at our booth. We're, I believe, at 211, correct? Let us know if you have any questions, and more than happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you, Taz. Definitely take advantage of that opportunity. I put one in my house, and it amazes me when you turn on, you start cooking something, to see that sensor go yellow to red, and flipping on, I don't have all the automation in it, but flipping on the kitchen fan, and watching the room get back to where you want it to be. So when we researched this a little bit, this category, this is definitely a technology product. And the technology installers out there are home technology as it's expanding into these new categories like smart energy and the healthy home category was really the impetus for setting up this session. So what we're going to talk about today is some initial research on the category of healthy home. And we're going to talk about a little bit of what we are finding out there, not get too deep, and then we're going to break into those groups, as I said. I want you guys to work together to identify things that you're doing, your clients might be interested in, what you can do to expand this offer, thinking about how you also will use it to market your business, right? These categories are important to a new generation of buyer, and being able to differentiate yourself as being aware engaged, and help to identify opportunities to make the home healthier for the occupants, I think is going to be very important. So, Global Wellness Institute, the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. Holistic health is really about everything that happens in the house: air, water, light, low VOC building materials, a tight house with ventilation, connecting the outdoors with the indoors, movement spaces, telehealth, age-in-place technologies. They're all things that help people live in their home in a healthy way for a longer period of time and keeping everyone safe. At first, I thought we needed the love guru on the panel to talk about this, but the more I dug into it, I really found that, first of all, it's a big business. And there are three main categories: wellness architecture, which is on the design; wellness design, which are some of the things inside the house; and then biophilic design. Has everyone heard those three terms? Okay, it was talked about last night. Biophilic, is that something that's new? How many people is that new to? Okay, and then wellness architecture, wellness design are kind of the same. So the first thing that I found when looking through this is the top 7 ingredients, what I think people mostly think about is a tight building envelope, ventilation, filtration, getting rid of the bad air, sealing the duct openings, and then it shifts to light. So it sort of starts with air, then it gets into light. So it's bringing in natural light. It's using some of these technologies we'll learn about on Thursday too, the circadian rhythm, the natural lighting, and what that does for wellness and well-being. Shading the light when you don't want it light for sleep, things like that. And then the building materials themselves, right? Shifting away from things that can harm people and building with products that can make you feel good and healthier. So then I found Zillow did a bunch of research, and they found that homes that had these features sold for higher prices. And there's a lot of work on the remodeler side about remodeling homes with healthy features. So if people are doing this to their existing homes, they're going to expect it in their new homes, right? This is the whole, one of the pillars of this event is about building homes that you can get benefits and features in that you don't easily get in your used homes. And it's following the car manufacturers, what they've been doing. They're putting all this new technology in these cars. And my father-in-law buys a new car every 2 years because he wants the thing to stop if there's someone bounces out in front of him. He wants the car to stay in his lane. Those are features you can't get in a used car, so we need to be putting features into our homes that you can't easily do in a used home. Additionally, things like electric vehicle charging, which is that green energy, drought-resistant technology, permeable surfaces. All of these things are showing that they can actually boost price and help sell homes faster. So wellness architecture, a couple things that I've found. I'm just going to go through these quickly, and I don't want to lead the witness too much because some of these things can be, probably fringe, but I know from talking to friends and builders that I know that this is being discussed at the architect level, the interior design level, and clients themselves with COVID and the smoke in California and the West. It's very relevant and very pertinent. So the spiritual and numinous moments in architectural, creating spaces that ground, connect, uplift, is an essential part of daily rituals in a fast-paced, ever-connected digital era. So this is about disconnecting from your phone and living in a space that just grounds you. Creating moments of mindfulness, introspection, connections is taking all kinds of shapes in our homes, workplaces, and communities, from DIY meditation coves to contemporary non-faith-based temples open to the public. So it's broader than the house, but people want this in their homes. They've been spending more time in their homes. They want to be connected to nature in their homes. So deep integration to nature. This is the biophilic design part, right? It's about green walls inside the house, connecting outdoor spaces to the indoor space. Then you've got mass migrations for the building boom. This is obviously what's happened with COVID for the last few years. Some of it's going to go back to normal, but more people are going to be working from home. So they're going to want a space that they can work in, and then they can disconnect from work in, right? This is what we got to do in these homes. And it's definitely a transformative process. It'll change the home. It'll set the home up for a long-term environment. So wellness is a theme, and people are investing in design and DIY treatments to immerse themselves in all things wellness, engaging with designers, as well as doing what they can at home to integrate important routines. Often solutions are simple, from wellness color schemes to aromatherapy, music, plants, stenciled messages of love and resilience on walls. Premise is that the daily activities such as exercise, meditation, spiritual practices, demands designated space, or even a room within the home, as these rituals are every bit as important to our well-being as the kitchen is for eating. So while, it's not necessarily the builder's job to bring these up, engaging with the design team and showing your work in these categories is going to be important to your clients moving forward, today and moving forward. So biophilic design, I'm not going to go too much into this, but environmental features, right? So what do you have in the house? How are you connecting the inside with the outside? Natural shapes and forms, so things that mimic nature. My wife's a landscape architect, and she went to a small school in Western Mass called the Conway School of Landscape Design. I had 12 students when she went back in the 90s, and it was about working with local species, indigenous species, native species. And it wasn't about planting a row of gumdrops. It was about recreating nature in your yard, not only from the aesthetic, but also to put things that belong there to bring the bees and bring the butterflies, into that area. So it's very important to recreate the environment, both inside and outside, that connects us with nature. So natural shapes and forms, natural patterns and processes, light in the space, right? Controlling the light, having good light inside, bringing light in from the outside, and blocking the light when you don't want it for sleep. Place-based relationships, so this is how well the building is connected to its ecological and cultural stewardship using local materials. And then evolved human-nature relationships. It's our relationship with nature, what we're looking for. So prospect and refuge creates a safe place for us to sit back and observe our surroundings. Curiosity and excitement, constant state of change. This goes back to the idea of soft fascination, fear and awe, right? So these are things that are connected to this category. And while I don't expect you all to be experts at this, you're building an envelope that this is all going to go into. So there are some technology aspects, there's design aspects, and there's having design partners on your team that can bring this to your clients. And so just a summary, biophilic design is the practice of connecting people and nature within our built environments and communities. So John created this wellness wheel, and we've sort of blocked these into three categories. So environment gives us air. So in the environmental category, we've got air, water, light, and sound, right? So there's sound gives us wellness, white sound, insulating a room or getting acoustical treatments in a room for sound. Light, natural lighting, we're going to learn more about that tomorrow. Circadian rhythm, managing natural light with shading. Water, both from a purification standpoint, reclamation and conservancy standpoint, and then obviously air. On the physical side, we've got security and safety, right? We talked about sleep. Well, how does a security system aid sleep? If you feel safe, you're going to be relaxed, you're going to relax, you're going to sleep. Leads into sleep. Food, nutrition. So what's the raised garden outside? Are they growing their own herbs and veggies? Are you helping them identify where that's going to be? Are we bringing grow spaces inside the house, right? And then obviously the movement. I didn't know what that was, but I have a friend who's a lot younger than I am, and he has a movement space. I was like, what's a movement space? He goes, well, that's where I move around. I said, well, like exercise? He goes, no, it's movement. So these are terms that I learned, right? I guess movement, I got to move more, probably. And then you got the psychological aspects. So spiritual experiences, the yoga rooms, the spa areas, things like that. How are you bringing nature into the house? How are you connecting the house with nature? What are the areas for family and social experiences? Yes, with technology, but how do you get them away from technology too, right? Get the family back together. And obviously mindfulness. So for about 20 minutes, what I'd like you to do, and this is where we're going to get up, we're going to move around, it's early in the morning. We're going to create 6 groups, and on these whiteboards, the 6th one is up here. When you flip over that page, there's going to be one of these categories, environment, with those 4 bubbles. So the folks that are going to work on environment, there'll be 2 groups working on environment, talking about air, water, light, and sound. There's going to be another 2 groups on the physical and another 2 groups on the psychological. So we'll go to one of these things, don't look at it, we'll flip it over. And what I'd like you to do, and it's not necessarily that you have to stick to this, I want to keep this fluid, and I want people to really just be creative on this. One is, think about things you're doing today, whether it's low VOC building materials, as an example. If that's what you're engaged with, list it down, right? What are you doing today that fits in this wellness design, wellness architecture category? Are there things you're hearing from your clients? What's any trends that are being asked for that fit in any of these categories? And then what can you do to expand into these categories, and ultimately how you'll present this to your prospective clients to win more business? So we're going to break into it's going to be 6 groups. You're going to migrate around one of these boards. I appreciate if someone just volunteers to be the scribe. There's going to be a few of us walking around. If you have questions, kick it around. Tackle these 3 categories in any way you like. If you're doing something that's not in your sort of category group, list it, right? So if you're doing environment, but you are building a tight envelope, or you're building with low VOC materials or healthy paints, put it down, right? And then try to ideate around those categories. And if there are things outside of it, please list it. And then we're going to come back at the end, and we're going to spend about 5 minutes just sharing the ideas. So is everyone clear enough? Did I give you enough guidance to do this? All right. So if those 2 tables can kind of go to that corner, a couple tables over to this, a couple tables to the back. Let's see if we can figure this one out together. All right, everybody up? And so just state kind of the category that you were working on, and then share the results. Introduce yourself too, please.
Hello? There we go. Hi, David Bellman is my name. I'm a semi-custom home builder from Wisconsin. And we have our Brown representative here that was on our group as well. So our category was psychological. And so we had to focus on mindfulness, nature experiences, spiritual experiences, and family and social experiences. I'm going to go on this side. So what we did is we kind of did 2 categories. We did what was been requested, or things that we've already built or put into our projects. And then we did the opportunities that we saw, things that maybe we have not done yet that we could take advantage of. And so the requested items, we've had things from yoga rooms, exercise rooms, family entertainment spaces like game rooms, saunas. We've incorporated landscape architecture in homes. For certain cultures, we've had prayer rooms, integrated feng shui into homes, even ceremonies for some of these clients to make sure that the home is blessed or is in the right spiritual space for them. And then incorporating the nature part of it with like folding doors, screened-in porches, home orientation for lighting and placement, panic rooms, actually done those a couple times, built-in safes for security and mindfulness of protecting your home, decks, outdoor living spaces, fire pits, pools, incorporating music, and then also things that people are concerned with these days as well, like touchless and germs and things like that, to even sports courts and things like that outside to have areas and places to exercise and be with your family and friends. So some opportunities that we saw were in the mindfulness, in the education part of it, potentially using more like passive sound, especially if you're in a noisier area. Maybe you can bring some sound into the home that's more relaxing. Indoor air quality monitoring. I think there's a lot more we can do there. The Ketra lighting, chromotherapy, aromatherapy, again, even diving further into the touchless, decontamination rooms if we have another COVID. These are all other things that could be potentially markets that could be tapped into too.
Thank you. Education, does that mean for the client?
I think for us too.
For you too, okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you very much. Any questions, thoughts that resonate? I heard prayer, someone else talk about having a religious figure come by and put some things underneath the foundation as a way to get started, so appreciate that. All right, group two.
Okay. All right, so we had the physical portion. We talked about fitness, food, sleep, safety, and security. We talked a lot about fitness specifically and how a lot of equipment has changed in the past couple of years. So we talked about putting internet in the fitness rooms for things like Pelotons and other connected equipment, specifically spaces like ski locker rooms, bike storage, basketball courts. We talked a little bit more about lighting, specifically circadian rhythm and incorporating CRI scores into the lighting for the home. For food, we talked about, again, different ways that you can incorporate growing different pieces of vegetables or herbs or whatever it may be inside the home as opposed to just outside the home. So perhaps it's a grow wall or some sort of addition that you put to your windows that could, automatically water and get some of these products to grow. We talked about air quality a little bit, talking about antimicrobial duct work, perhaps monitoring and positively pressurizing bedrooms for when you sleep so you can get a better night's rest. We talked a little bit more about security, about how some people want a security system, but in Drew's case here, living in Texas, some individuals just want a place to put their gun. So that was a pretty neat thing that he does. And then another big thing we talked about was theft protection, specifically package theft protection. Another great product that Drew uses here is something called the box gobbler. Basically, you put your product in, you hide it, and then you can't open it anymore for any sort of package theft. And then lastly, we talked a little bit about like induction tops and food and some other products.
Awesome. Thank you. Great work. All right, keep going around. We'll go clockwise. Blue Heron in the house.
We had psychological, which is similar to those guys that made a great list, and they talked about a lot of things we talked about but never wrote down, which is awesome. My scribe, though, he did great. At Blue Heron, we talked about a little bit last night about biophilic design. We do that already. One of the things we talked about, there's kind of a debate going on here, is like what level of clientele is able to put this in their house? So this is something that gets checked off at a certain level, right? Like if you're a mega millionaire and you want to put this in your house, you can do it. But how do we put this in our houses now if you're just at the $1 million range or the $800,000 range? But we talked about nature, indoor, outdoor, combination, plants on the inside, water, and how we can create a microclimate, something that we didn't talk about last night, and I failed to do this. It wasn't in my notes. But we create our own microclimates. We have so much water involved with a dry area in Las Vegas that when the wind blows and we have the windows and doors open, the wind blows across the water of the pool or the water feature, and we create our own climate. That's something that really goes into biophilia. It's great, but you can't do it in every region, right? Every region isn't capable of doing that. If you live in in the South where there's a lot of humidity, this isn't going to work. But in the dry spaces, if you create that water and that air, you can create your own climate where you're not using the energy of the air conditioning. You're not turning that on, even in the middle of summertime. That house that you guys saw last night, Vegas Modern 1. It's 120 degrees in the summertime in Las Vegas, but we don't turn the air on. We just open the doors and the wind blows across the water, and it's 80 degrees inside during the day. We talked about circadian rhythm. We talked about installing golf simulators or workout spaces. We have a gym. We always put gyms in most of our places. And a lot of folks are trying to put gymnasiums or at least a gym room or a weight room in their spaces they can work out. Something else that came up that we're working on, even at Blue Heron, is a video wall of nature. So, you guys see these massive TVs, but we're actually turning walls into spaces where you can show the landscape. You can show clouds and, whatever you're into, you can put it on a wall and you can actually become one with that wall inside of your house. And, that's places you go. We heard from Canada, a salt room. Never heard of it. Not an assault room, a salt room.
To salt your fish?
No, it's a room with like salt on the walls and salt crystals hanging from the ceiling.
Really?
It's like a Nordic thing. It's actually becoming pretty popular.
Wow.
And you sit there and just breathe in the salt.
Yeah, wild. Hey, we're for Blue Heron, who led the investigation into these categories? Did someone become expert, or did you use a consultant, or a mix?
Some of the stuff was by accident. It's one of those things where you accidentally make something and you're like, oh, that's cool, we're gonna do that. But the founder of Blue Heron and the CEO, young fella, really with it, and he decided, he got into the biophilia about 5 years ago, and bringing that indoor-outdoor relationship is something that he was really a part of.
I've been to the house twice, and I met your CEO, and very impressed. And the house is, it's spectacular. What you've done in there is a great example of it. I got some pictures of it in our next presentation that we'll talk more, so you can actually pipe in on that too.
Perfect.
All right, thank you very much. Moving clockwise.
Thank you. My name is Glenn Harris with Alaire Homes down in Southwest Florida. Our category was environment, air, water, light, sound, and we sort of focused on some of the things that we're currently doing, which I think shows that this is a pretty important subject because we've got a lot to learn still going forward. So on the air side, some of the things we're doing, obviously ERVs, we're doing a lot of that now, fresh air in our homes, and creating tighter homes is something we've been heavily focused on with, and it's in Florida, obviously in our code now with the blower door test, et cetera. It's really a focus of creating tighter homes, HEPA filters. On the water side, water home filtration, or whole home filtration, rainwater capture is something that one of our guys had done as well in one of his homes, and actually using that for the home, right? They completely went off the grid, which was very interesting. On the light side, temperature adjusted lighting, shade controls that are connected with sensors to the natural light, so they're used when needed. And then obviously bringing in natural light into the home itself. And in the design side, focusing on proper window placement, et cetera. Sound, bringing in the natural sounds into the home. Safe and sound insulation, something that Graham mentioned with what we use typically with spray foam insulation, but it's very rigid, so it actually the sound bounces off. So he's doing a lot of this safe and sound insulation or hybrid, the hybrid rigid cellulose, which absorbs the sound, I presume, right? Rather than it bouncing off. So those are some of the things that we're doing currently, and talked about other things. Graham mentioned Delos.com is a company that's really focused on this wellness thing and is pushing that forward. We talked about circadian rhythm. You've currently got a home that's going to focus on a lot of the Brone products going forward, so it's going to incorporate the Brone systems into his home going forward. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Thank you. Great input. The water, I think what I see is air is kind of like front and center with what's going on, and it's, people are breathing this. And water, there's the purification of it, but I just got off a 2-week trip going down the Colorado River in a raft. and the guides are really knowledgeable about the geology, but also the water. And that river used to run at 20 to 30,000 cubic feet per minute, and now they regulate it between 6 and 9. And so the availability of water and desalination technologies, those things, I don't know when it's going to happen, but for those of you in certainly California, I spent some time in the Bay Area, the water's an issue. So there's so many aspects there that are coming down the pike. So, all right, Edwin.
Thank you. I'm going to throw a little shade over here to the psychological. You're talking about how do we get it into maybe the not multimillionaire. One of the things you guys did at Blue Heron at that Vegas Modern one was just to double tap the plumbing on the showers, that you could shower outside or inside. Very, very simple on the first floor. So it was just a very, very neat little trick, but it was okay. I just remembered it on the first floors, but it was just, and psychologically, it was just so nice to go outside. Like I could think about going outside and taking a shower. Of course, it was protected from other views, but that was another one that I thought was really cool. We covered a lot of the same things. Now that I'm last, we're kind of bringing up the tail hill. Peloton, bar, mirrors, a lot of that kind of stuff that's going on. We did talk about the fact that these people are hyper-competitive. And when you're hyper-competitive, you're looking for every advantage. So what is it you can do to bring in better air or better anything that will help you increase your performance and beat your friend on your next race on your Peloton bike? Those are some of the things we mentioned there. We talked about basketball, outdoor and indoor. Ventilated food storage areas was the topic that came up here from Nick. I thought that was really interesting for excess food, making sure that it doesn't get spoiled. Greg has done a dumbwaiter for food, bringing the food up from the garage up to the kitchen, so you don't have to lug it up the stairs. It's kind of cool. Gear rooms. Sleep came up a lot. Very, very dark. It was mentioned somewhere. I can't find it. But very, very dark rooms. But also bringing the light up naturally was something that was interesting. White noise and sound. Another one that I thought was kind of cool or interesting was this safety and security in home. Once you've installed it, it becomes kind of a drug, and you want to have it wherever you go. So how can you make it travel with you? Or as you look at your next home, once you've had it in one home, you're going to want it in the next. You kind of become addicted to it. And then we jumped over a little bit to point of use and recirc water reclamation in the house. And then last one that I thought was really interesting was adding some kind of maintenance schedule, requiring the homeowner to adhere to some kind of maintenance schedule. And how do you do that, and how do you build that into the contract? Because you got a lot of money built into it, and you got to make sure that they're taking care of the filters or whatever it is, and not letting the bad stuff build up. So I thought that was another cool one.
Awesome. Guys, give yourselves a round of applause. That was great. Everyone appreciate this kind of session. I know someone shared with me that they've done it in the past. They like it. You all good with it? Yeah, questions?
So we've noticed often lately that people are asking a lot more about water. I've got a city right next to me that just got relegated to 55 gallons per day.
Where are you?
I'm in Southern California. I always tell people about 45 minutes east of Disneyland.
Yeah.
Give somebody perspective. So that's where I'm at. There's a city right next to me, 55 gallons per day that they've been relegated to. So, you think about a 5-gallon bucket and a family of 4, it's not a lot of water. They're paying 7 to 10 times more per gallon after that 55 per day. And if they go above, I believe it's 80, they will literally be shut off of water. So it's real. What you said is it's very real in California. And we've got people now coming to us asking, I'd say half the people are super concerned about water. So we've even got things now where we're UV lighting water and repurposing it so you can use it twice, and top off pools, fill up your toilets, water your yards, things like that. So I just kind of wanted to bring that out. I don't know if even
is it
Vegas,
a requirement? Go ahead. No, finish.
No, I was just going to say I don't know if that's happening in Vegas. If you guys are seeing it more. Yeah. Have you guys been relegated out there at all?
We have not, but they just limited our pools to 600 square feet.
Right.
We do a lot of water features in massive pools.
We just had somebody close to that area just got told they cannot have a pool.
I got a picture of a house that we'll show this afternoon that actually in Los Altos Hills, they couldn't build a pool outside. So they built a pool inside, but then they had a way to open up the space to get it to the outside. Yeah, water is, it scares me. It's really, where I am in NorCal, from the East Coast, you had abundance of water. I'm originally from Boston. And for a couple years ago when it was bad, you'd warm up your shower into a bucket and flush with it. I mean, that's where it was. And so is it a requirement in all of California now that you have to plumb for water recycling or reclamation or gray water?
I don't think it's law, but yeah, it's highly recommended.
I think maybe it's something in Sonoma County. They're a little crunchy up there.
Well, and just to give everybody here a little perspective, so the Western United States, there's 7 states, 2 different countries are dependent on Lake Mead. That's 40 million people, and it's at record lows. Like you can't even dock boats there anymore. It's insane.
I mean, that's the water that feeds the Colorado River right now, and it was freaky.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those gangsters from your area, all them buddies are starting to come up now.
All right. So is this for future events, more education, topics on this? You would welcome that? Okay. All right. And I'm not an expert at this. I reached out to some good folks that shared time with me and contributed to what helped me learn on this. And so it's just a handful up there. They're not associated with us at all, but they were good people. Jamie Gold's got some books. Kate is in New Hampshire. She's a small architect, but really mindful on this category. And all these folks provide some sort of consultancy, and I think there's many, many others. And we might try to bring one of them in to an event to talk a little more about the category. So really appreciate you guys working together. I like this. It's better than listening to me drone on for a full 45, 50 minutes. And we finished with 30 seconds to spare. How is that? Nailed it, huh? All right.